Hello and welcome. I'm Rashan Gidwani and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the headlines for this hour. President Trump has dismissed the possibility of a negotiated settlement to the Iran conflict, stating the U.S. will not stop until the regime is eliminated. The White House has further escalated tensions by raising the prospect of targeting all potential successors to the Iranian leadership to ensure a total regime collapse. Lawyers for Naveed Akram, the accused Bondi Beach gunman, are seeking a court order to prevent the media from naming his family members. The defense argues that the disclosure of their identities and locations poses a severe risk to their safety amid intense global scrutiny of the terror case. China's consumer inflation accelerated to 1.3% in February, marking its highest level in over 3 years. The surge was driven by Lunar New Year spending and rising global energy costs tied to the Iran conflict, while producer deflation showed signs of moderating. Trump administration officials have defended a temporary waiver on Russian oil sanctions, citing the need to stabilize surging gasoline prices caused by the Iran war. Energy Secretary Chris Wright stated the 30-day pause for Indian refineries is a common-sense move to tamp down market fear and prevent further spikes at the pump. The brothers of the late Virginia Giuffre visited Jeffrey Epstein's former New Mexico ranch to demand the release of unredacted documents identifying her abusers. Marking International Women's Day, they called on the Trump administration to stop covering up names linked to the infamous Zorro Ranch. Australia has officially commenced new online age restrictions requiring adult entertainment websites, app stores, and AI chatbots to rigorously verify users who are over 18. As the deadline hit on March 9th, several major adult platforms chose to block Australian access entirely rather than implement the mandatory age assurance technology. China has declared that high-level dialogue with the U.S. is vital as President Trump increases pressure on Beijing's key global partners. Officials warned that escalating trade restrictions and geopolitical maneuvering threaten to destabilize the fragile diplomatic balance between the two superpowers. Experts predict that brain-computer interface technology could see widespread adoption across China within the next 3 to 5 years. This rapid advancement positions Beijing as a front-runner in neural connectivity for both medical and consumer applications. And here are the top stories for this hour. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen warned Monday that the rules-based international system, while essential, can no longer be the only way to defend Europe's interests. Speaking on the Middle East conflict, she said the region is experiencing unintended consequences, with the spillover effects already becoming a reality. Von der Leyen added that the people of Iran deserve freedom, dignity, and the right to decide their own future, even though it may be fraught with danger and instability. She called on Europe to focus on the reality of the situation and to see the world as it actually is today, emphasizing pragmatism alongside principled support. Next up, an early morning strike has targeted Israeli territory today. A woman suffered from moderate injuries due to cluster bomb shrapnel. Local police authorities say that she was rushed to the hospital for treatment. Responding to the incident, Commanding Officer Jill El Haddad has warned about the dangers of cluster bombs, noting the damage they can cause when fragments dispense at an early stage. Next up, this comes amid Israel launching a wave of strikes in central Iran and targeting infrastructure that the IDF claims belong to Hezbollah forces in Beirut. Meanwhile, Iran and its proxies have also appeared to respond, with rocket and drone attacks aimed at a U.S. diplomatic facility near Baghdad International Airport, which were reportedly intercepted by CRAM defense systems. And now joining us live to tell us more about this is retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar, a senior strategic and international affairs expert. He's joining us live from New Delhi. Sir, to what extent do you believe that these attacks that are currently undergoing attacks in the Middle East will essentially reach India and other parts of the world? The reason I say that, let me preface it, is to essentially say that the rest of the world also has U.S. embassies. So how far-flung do you believe these attacks will go? Please.
Type of missiles Iran has, they are basically restricted to not more than 2,000, 2,200 kilometers of range. So coming to India and all those countries, I don't think is going to happen. And as it is, we don't have any stakes in this war. So what has to be understood is that why the Iranian strike is happening in the Gulf countries is because of their proximity to the United States and they're having US bases there. No, Iran is not at a war with the world as such. No, Iran is at war with US and Israel, and US embassies in other countries are beyond the reach of Iran, and it will be wasting its time as it is. Every country has got its own air defense system and resources, and the strikes are unlikely to happen as far as that is concerned. What is more concerning is now we have come onto the 10th day of the war. What is of concern to us is this war is spilling into the economic domain. It's no longer a war between US and Iran or Israel. It is now a war in terms of an economic war with the rest of the world. And we need to understand that in the context that what has happened now with the state of Hormuz being a no-go kind of a situation, and these Bahrain oil refineries have been targeted, Saudi Arabia, the oil fields have been targeted, and desalination plants are also there, data centers have been targeted. So we are seeing this war getting into a sphere where it is starting to pinch you in every country, because normally we see whenever wars take place, it is like we saw the Ukraine war with Russia. It was primarily Russia and Ukraine, and the impact of the war was not felt by any other country, maybe a marginal kind of, you can say, impact. But this war has caused a major impact. I can tell you as far as India is concerned. 80% of our oil imports are happening, and almost 50% of these, around 40 to 50% of these come from the Gulf countries. But the gas, it's almost, LNG is almost 60%. So we are going to be very, very badly affected. Though we have reserves available, there are many countries who don't even have reserves available.
No, but
so you can see the impact. We have got 74 days reserves as far as oil is concerned, but we don't have any reserves as far as gas is concerned. So this is bound to affect the world in large, and Donald Trump needs to understand it. I read some statement in the morning in which he says it is far less a price to pay if you are able to sort out Iran. He cannot sort out Iran. The kind of statements which are emanating without him going inside
Sir, I'm
Iran.
so sorry. We do have some breaking news coming on right now. Please stay with us. Thank you. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is delivering a speech right now. Let's listen to that, please.
I'm setting out our social cohesion plan today, which is a broader piece of work about how we bring people together as a country, make sure that we build on what we all care about, which is very much pride in our communities, pride in who we are as a country, pride, of course, in the places that we all come from. Everybody's got a pride about where they come from. And that real sense of making sure that we do integrate and we're one country standing together, particularly at a time like this, and that we bear down on extremism and division, because it's very important all the time to do that. It's particularly important at the moment. And so that's what we're doing as we turn into this week. So I think what you'll see is the focus going more to what impact might this have back in the United Kingdom. This will be happening across all countries, really, and really to reassure you about the work the government is doing to get ahead of that and to monitor the risk, assess the risk, and work with others across our own government, but actually with other countries. Part of the response at a time like this has to be constantly talking to leaders in other countries, particularly in the region, but also across Europe when it comes to the economy and other measures. So that's all I'll say for now. I think I've got some questions from you, so this is your chance. Anybody got any questions that they want to ask? I think we'll do the old-fashioned way of putting a hand up, if that's all right. Yes, I'll try and do a question behind me whilst facing this way. It's always a skill, but hopefully I can master it. I think we've got a microphone coming for you so you can be heard.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning. My question is, what are you doing to bring communities together in this world that is so divided, and what is in place?
Yeah, this is really important. I mean, it is a really sad feature, isn't it, of a time like this, that some people will try and use it as an opportunity to divide. So I think on two levels we're working. The first is we have to be really conscious that where people want to divide at the moment in relation to this conflict, it's in the space of trying to divide the Muslim community and the Jewish community. So we're working particularly on those two strands. There is a sort of broader cohesion plan that we've been working on for some time, which is not just a reaction to this conflict, obviously, is much broader, which is how do we bring the country together? One of my biggest concerns at the moment is that there's too many people in politics who want to set up grievances between different groups of people to point fingers and divide and say that we can't be one country, we can't be one set of communities. I totally disagree with that. I think one of the great things about this country is we're a diverse country where we prove actually that different people can live alongside each other in a tolerant way with our values. And actually, that's more than just an observation on who we are as a country. It's what we are as a country. That is us. And we should hold that close. We should be proud of it. And so the cohesion plan is intended to make sure that everything is being put in place to support the work we're doing there. Let us go to another question. Yes, please.
And now joining us live to provide more perspective on that speech is Hamad Vahidi, Iranian-Australian community leader. He's the co-founder of Mehran Foundation. He's joining us live from Sydney. Sir, we just listened into Keir Starmer's speech right there. Of course, Keir Starmer did mention that different people can live together. In light of the Bondi shooting that recently happened in Sydney, Australia, can Jewish communities and Muslim communities still cooperate in Sydney being Australian? What are your thoughts, sir? Please.
First of all, thanks for having me. That's a great question, Roshan. I think it's something that we need to consider. It's not about being just Jewish community living with others. It's this extremism and, these extremist religious groups that are, bothering Jewish community. So the Bondi attack that happened just a few weeks ago, it was very unfortunate, and it wasn't anybody's fault other than this Islamist religious group that they just opened fire on people, innocent people that were just at the beach, just having their own time. So I think it is very conflicting, and to have a group that is deciding to use open fire, live fire on innocent people based on an ideology. And it's not about just Jewish people. I know that this is anti-Semitism, but this kind of terror has happened before in other countries as well. So if you look at the European countries, in Canada, in almost all the countries across the world, you're seeing these kind of terrorist attacks. And it's, as I mentioned, it's not just against Jewish people. It is that the main sponsor of these kind of terrorist attacks are the Islamic regime in Iran, which is occupying Iran, which has started the terror inside Iran and is exporting this kind of mechanism to just shut everyone up and just try to expand its own ideology to have like a global caliphate. So different people, different group of people with different ideology, they can be different religion, culture, they can live together. But if one of them is extremist and it's wanting just to expand its own ideology, I think it's very hard to do. And it's just breaking that norm in the culture. And this multiculturalism that we are advocating in Australia, it cannot work with such extremism.
Please stay with us, sir. We'll be right back with you. Next up, in a televised address, Bahrain's King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has talked about the unprecedented attacks faced by his country and other Arab states, blaming Iran for actions that he says cannot be justified. Let's listen to his statements.
أنه لا يؤسفنا ما تعرضت له بلادنا العزيزة والدول العربية والشقيقة والدول الصديقة من اعتداءات غير مسبوقة لا يمكن تبريرها تحت أي ذريعة من قبل إيران. فالبحرين كانت وستظل دولة سلام لم تبادر يوما إلى استعداء أحد ولم تنتهج إلا سبيل التعاون وحسن الجوار تجاه محيطها العربي ومجتمعها الدولي. وعلى هذا الأساس جاء انضمامنا إلى مجلس السلام المعني بإعادة إعمار غزة تعبيرا صادقا عن وضوح مواقف بلادنا وانسجام سياساتها مع المساعي الهادفة إلى نشر السلام وإعادة البناء وتهيئة أسباب الاستقرار.
Bahrain's king has also stressed that the country will remain committed to an approach of moderation, fulfilling its obligations to other Arab nations and the wider international community. Joining us live now again to give us his perspectives on the issues at hand is Hamad Vahidi, Iranian Australian community leader, co-founder of Mehran Foundation. He's joining us live from Sydney. Sir, let's dive deeper into my previous question. Of course, Australia is a multi-ethnic country and there are many different types of communities there. My question is, how do we essentially not generalize, stereotype, and for lack of a better word, condemn individuals who, of course, are so far removed from the Middle East conflict? What's your advice to essentially move forward in a world where families are their own utopias? And how can we avoid situations like what's happening in the Middle East, where essentially different nations can't seem to find a consensus and move forward economically? Please.
Very good question again, Roshan. I think there are two different aspects to this question. So let me start with the Australian community. In Australia, we believe that everyone that comes to Australia should leave everything that he had, like any obsession or anything that like any enmity with any other group outside, and just come to the country with open arms and try to embrace other cultures and work with others and live together and be friends. So from that aspect, I think this kind of extremism is not acceptable in a multicultural society like Australia. So this is completely against the norm, completely against whatever that we are advocating here in a free country like Australia. So the other aspect is, if you look at it globally, you can't hide this. You can't hide these truths. Let's bite the bullet and just lay it out the line. Some ideologies, some groups, they can't work and live with others because in their ideology, I've worked and lived and born and bred in Iran. So I know this ideology. I have lived that kind of culture. These kind of ideology, they don't allow other cultures, they don't allow other groups to live with them. They want to expand their own territory, they want to rule, they want to start a government, not a democratic government in the Western sense of meaning. It's a ruling system, it's a caliphate. And they wanted to establish that kind of overruling power and just expand the territory and just have someone, some group, some elite group that just dictating everything to others. So you can't live with a dictator. You can't obey the dictator, but you can't live with it openly and freely. So if you want to be honest and just take the bull by the horn, you definitely cannot work and live and be friend with ideologies, these extremist ideologies. So I think that would be the end of it. If they are happy to put it aside, this kind of extremism, yes, definitely that can work. And I'm not talking about religion, I'm not talking about ethnicity, I'm not talking about any specific group. I'm talking about this ideology that is just, they want to push everything to the extreme, just implement that caliphate around the world. So that cannot work with others and cannot live in such societies.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Much appreciated. Next up, Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar said that India has allowed an Iranian warship, the Iris Levant, to dock at Kochi port as a humanitarian gesture. The docking came after the U.S. sank another Iranian Navy vessel off Sri Lanka earlier this week. Jaishankar said India received a request from Iran on February 28th for 3 ships to use Indian ports, granting permission on March 1st. The Levant docked on March 4th, and its crew is being accommodated at Indian naval facilities. The foreign minister stressed that allowing the ship to dock was the right thing to do, amid rising tensions in the region following U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran. Let's listen to what the Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar had to say.
The House will also be interested in the issue of an Iranian vessel that is currently docked in Kochi. The Iranian side had requested permission on 28 February for 3 ships in the region to dock at our ports. This was accorded on 1 March. IRIS Levant actually docked on 4th March in Kochi. The crew is currently in Indian naval facilities. We believe that this was the right thing to do, and the Iranian foreign minister has expressed his country's thanks for this human gesture.
And now joining us for his take is retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar. He's a senior strategic and international affairs expert joining us live from New Delhi. Sir, do you believe that this move essentially puts India in the line of fire from the U.S. or Israel? Please.
Thank you, Roshan. I don't think so, because see, we in our foreign policy, we exercise a strategic autonomy. Iran has been a good friend, remains a good friend. Israel is a good friend, remains a good friend, and the US is a good friend and remains a good friend. There are certain humanitarian issues and there are certain protocols which the navies of both the countries or worldwide, maritime protocols, are required to be followed. Now, if there is a distress signal in the international waters, and if you happen to be the first responder there, then be it, because that's the way it is to be done. And how are we concerned whether somebody likes it or does not like it? Does our foreign policy gets tailored to suit the needs of the other countries? It is based on our own national interest. And unfortunately, the opposition carries the things a bit too far here in India. And they really don't know what issue needs to be highlighted and what does not need to be highlighted. This is a clear-cut case. We allowed this ship to dock in Kochi, and all the sailors were taken off board and accommodated in our naval premises. And if this happens to Indian ship near the Iranian coast, I'm sure Iran will also do a similar kind of a thing. So these are important protocols. I think it has got nothing to do with the ongoing war, and I would like also to tell your viewers that please don't connect it with any kind of situation which is happening in the Middle East. These are protocols. We were having a joint naval exercise in the Indian waters. These ships were here for the naval exercise and at the invitation of our government. And after the exercise, they have departed. One of the ships was technical issues were there, so it required help, and India was there to give it help. So I really don't see that the context of the Indo-US relation should come into play here, and things have to be looked from the perspective of protocols on relations, bilateral relations between two countries, and on how the two navies of the two countries regard each other. Roshan.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. That's all we have